Hi, I'm Matt, and on today's Matt's World DIY, we're making smashed potatoes. They're the latest craze these days, and they are super delicious. They're crunchy on the edges and a little bit chewy on the middle, and they are so, frankly, divine. So join me as we make these smashed potatoes today on Matt's DIY. So these smashed potatoes come together in a snap. It's very easy to get started. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to open up this little bag of potatoes. I am using this medley of potatoes. They're small baby potatoes. There's an assortment. It looks like Yukon Gold, red potatoes, and then these purple finger kind of potatoes. You could use just like yellow potatoes, Yukon Gold, whichever, but get the baby sized potatoes. You want the potato that's rather small. And this is about 1.5 pounds of potatoes. We're going to put into a large pot. Woo, one's trying to get away. We're going to put these in the pot, and I'm going to fill the pot up with water just to about 1 inch above the level of the potatoes. And I'm going to boil these until they're fork tender, and then from there, we'll continue with the recipe. It's very easy, you'll see. While my potatoes are on the stove boiling, I'm going to prepare my herbs for this dish. So I have some fresh rosemary here that I'm going to chop up and sprinkle this onto the potatoes while they're baking in the oven. So you're going to want to chop up your rosemary nice and fine so that you don't end up having big chunks of rosemary in your mouth. That's not really pleasant. So chop up your rosemary really fine and get it ready to sprinkle on top of the potatoes before you put them in the oven. So my potatoes have boiled on the stove for about 15 to 20 minutes. You want to make sure you don't boil them too long, because if you do, they'll end up being mushy in the end. You don't want that. So 15-20 minutes boiling. I've drained them and they're cooling off just a little bit right now because they are super duper super hot. But in the meantime, I'm going to take my micro mister and mist a baking sheet with some olive oil. Now, if you don't have a micro mister, that's just fine. Go ahead and take your olive oil and just put it in the bottom of the pan. You can use either your hand or a paper towel to evenly distribute the oil on the pan. We just don't want these potatoes sticking to the surface of your pan. So I have this handy dandy micro mister that will take care of that job. So I've placed my potatoes on my baking sheet. You want to make sure you have a baking sheet that's large enough to accommodate all of your potatoes. If you don't, use another tray so you have enough space in between the potatoes. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take the bottom of a glass and you just take it and smush the potato down just like this to about 1/4 inch thickness. 1/4 inch thickness. And I'll tell you something right here. I would not recommend using an assortment of potatoes like this. You would really be best advised to have all your potatoes the same kind and the same size, roughly, so that you have the most consistency throughout. Because this is a variety, it might not work out exactly as I hoped, but I have a variety. So there you go. Anyway, just go ahead and mash your potatoes down, and then we'll take over. We'll pick up from there. Now that my potatoes are smashed, I'm going to spray them again with olive oil just to get a nice coating on the tops, and then I'm going to season them. When you're seasoning, you have liberty to do whatever you want. Use the things that you enjoy, things that you like. I'm going to start with garlic powder. So I'm going to put garlic powder on all of these guys. I'm going to, of course, crack some black pepper on top, some fresh black pepper. And I'm going to give this a try with some Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning. I just love this stuff. I put it on everything, so it's probably going to be just a super delicious thing. Then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle some of that fresh, oh, hang on. Jeez, that pepper got to me. Whew. I'm going to sprinkle some of this fresh rosemary on, and that will really bring this up another level. All about bringing dishes up to another level, right? Now that I have my potatoes seasoned, they're going to go into a 425-degree oven for about 40 to 45 minutes. It seems like a long time, but we really want them to be nice and crispy on the outside, especially on the edges. And that time in that heat is going to really do the trick. So let's get it in there. So the potatoes were in the oven for about 40 minutes. Right now they are blazing hot, so I'm not going to touch them. But they have a nice brown golden edge, and it looks like the inside is a nice kind of a softer consistency there. So I cannot wait to try this. It's going to be delicious. The smashed potatoes are delightful. They're crunchy on the outside and they're kind of tender on the inside. I think it would be really good with something like a sour cream and chive kind of dip. That would be delightful. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this recipe today and get a chance to make it. And if you enjoy the content on my channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, if you enjoy this recipe, check out some of my other dishes on my Savory playlist. I'll see you next time.